Welcome to the Elevated Marketing podcast show that is designed for business owners and marketers who are tired of overhyped advice. We talk through what we're testing, we challenge assumptions, and we share what's really happening in the world of marketing, which is messy, creative, and always evolving. Welcome to the show. All right, we are back for another Elevated Marketing podcast. I love this. This is at the heart of Jennifer. How do you know if your marketing is actually strategic? That is one of my favorite words. Well, that and efficient but if you're efficient, you're strategic. Last week we talked about, how to know if your marketing, if it's not tied directly to revenue, then, essentially it wasn't strategic to begin with. And I don't know why I feel like sometimes strategy seems like a bad idea when it comes to doing marketing. I think because we associate like outcome and producing things, but it's still producing something. It's about focusing on the right things, not just doing things, right?
Yeah. Well, and strategy requires a lot of thinking, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of analysis. And so sometimes at the strategy stage, it can feel like it's taking so long. But without that, if you just jump right into something without a plan or without a strategy, then, in the end, you're not going to see the results that you're hoping for.
No, it's a bunch of like wasted time. And we can certainly link back to our show of overthinking it.
Yeah.
But when you break down like what strategy actually means, which I think, that's definitely what we need to talk about, is how to know if your marketing is being strategic. There are 8 points that if you break these down, which is what we're going to break down, we'll just go back and forth here I'm being strategic. So I'll start with number 1, being curious. I am like the one that I always ask like 20 questions, like, but why? But why? I'm sure I was very annoying as a child. But I am constantly, whether it is out loud or in my brain, I'm asking, okay, that ad worked, but why did it work? And, I do let the numbers kind of evaluate why it worked. And that does give me a foundation of experience over years, that, I do know what I'm doing, but they don't just wait though for like the insights to like come to them and kind of land in their lap with automated reporting or something like that. They go looking for, trying to figure out. And I do think this is where my psychology background can come into play, because we all do things for a reason. And so I'm very curious as to what that reason is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think if you aren't asking enough questions, then you're not doing your strategy any justice. Yeah. I would say maybe going along with that too is like future oriented thinking. So, and we've also done a show on this, like one-time campaigns versus ongoing marketing. And I think that somewhat plays into this, but strategy isn't about, well, what worked this week? It's really thinking, well, what's our goals for maybe next quarter or next month? What event do we have coming up? What's our goal for that event? And future oriented thinking, when you're, really creating a strategy, is there has to be a goal, right? We all want to achieve something. And then that strategy that comes into place is, okay, well, how are we reaching that long-term goal?
Yeah. It's, if you're just looking at this month's metrics, you're not being strategic, you're reacting to, past events. And I know Lorraine and I, did a show on this. You're not taking that information and saying, well, because of that, I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely future oriented and thinking about the future and where things might go.
Yeah.
Agree. So, pattern recognition, one of my favorites too. Puzzles. I love puzzles. I love looking at the trends and the data. It's not just about, okay, this happened once. It happened repeatable? So are we talking about 3 months in a row? And so that way you're kind of looking at, post-mortem, like it's not really about blame. It's more about like patterns and where
Mm-hmm.
those patterns are at. um, Strategy is really built on patterns, not guesses. And as much as, even I myself have been in marketing for 25 years, there's definitely patterns and thorough-ways in marketing, but channels and things are changing, making it a little bit more difficult in some areas. However, we are strategic,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's, recognizing those patterns and making sure you have enough time to even have a pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing too, is
Yeah.
time. I think too, like along with like these changes that we're seeing, having that mental agility,
Oh
the
my gosh.
pivot without panic is really important. Strategic marketers are staying calm and they're asking, okay, well, what's another way to accomplish this? And when we say changes, it can really mean an abundance of changes, whether that's a change in algorithms, maybe it's a change in ad budget. It's really just about staying calm, figuring out another way to keep things moving. If you have rigid plans that maybe were a guess and not going along with patterns, then you're gonna kind of find yourself at a breaking point.
Yeah.
But flexible strategies can keep moving, they can bend. And we as marketers have to be adaptable to these changes that come at us from all angles.
Yeah. Yeah. Reminding yourself of social media is an echo chamber. There can be probably a lot of panic as platforms change, algorithms change, and pay attention to those people that are throwing out the panic. If they are throwing out panic, like, are they staying calm? Are they looking for the thorough, like, where, I don't care what we're talking about. There's basics that are always true.
Yeah.
And if you just chase those shiny things, then you're never going to have any substance. You're just going to be, what's the next big thing?
Mhm. For sure.
So I think that leads in number 5 is comfort with risk. And, I want to say this word so bad, but ambiguity. If you wait for things that are certain, it's too late.
Hmm.
So this is a lot of gut, you know, str- being strategic. It isn't about like having all the answers. It's about having enough to start testing and making those smart bets.
Hmm.
You'll never have perfect data, and trust me right here, if you try to rely on one platform, this platform or that platform to tell you the absolute truth, it's going to fail.
Hmm.
100% all the time. They're all got their own pockets lined. And so you go back to that pattern and being like, okay, well, strategically here, I can take a risk because I see some pattern recognition here and it's worth the risk. But be okay if you're wrong too.
Right.
No, nobody bats at 100%. Like,
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, if we all had the answers and if it were really that easy, then what are we here for?
Right, right. So,
Yeah. I think with that too could be self awareness and reflection. Now, earlier I had mentioned future thinking, and that's still true. But if you're not looking back at a campaign that you did run and asking yourself, what did we learn? What came out of this? What did we assume? Or maybe like, what would we do differently? Then you're going to stunt your growth. And that's, I mean, sharp marketers are looking back and they are analyzing and evaluating everything that happened before, during, and after that campaign. And that's then going to help with your pattern recognition. That might help with your risk taking in the future. It really all kind of feeds off of each other and kind of goes hand in hand.
there's a reason why people say history repeats itself,
Mm-hmm.
because it does.
Yeah.
And so it might be a little bit different, it might be in a different package, but like history does repeats itself. And I love history for that reason, because I'm curious and I want to understand. And um, I don't get everything right, and I try to have that reflection with you guys as a team, and with we're not always right, but we're pretty darn strategic
Yes.
when it comes to all of that. So I think that, the next one, I've already set it to a degree, up above, without the mental agility, pivoting without panicking, on number 4. But saying no to shiny objects, and
Mm-hmm.
disciplined thinking, like being disciplined. Gosh, if anybody could be inside my brain, they'd be like, "Hey, Jennifer, you should probably ease up a little bit." Um, I'm pretty disciplined on doing things, and it's about making choices. It's about not to do just as much as what to do. Um, are your campaigns tied to real business goals? We've written about that. Can your team explain how that idea fits into a funnel? Can they run that through like a SWOT analysis, a funnel logic? Like, can someone explain how a TikTok video ties to your revenue? If you can't, or a LinkedIn or whatever else, then you probably shouldn't be making it. And this is where we get this blindness. We're like, all this new stuff. Well, we need to start doing that. Don't be too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be too early. But
Yeah,
like,
and it's so easy for your judgment to be clouded when there's all these trends happening, especially when it comes to social media. And, sometimes it's okay to step out of your box and try something new. But if you're constantly saying yes to these new shiny objects or shiny trends, you know, you're not going to see the outcome that you're hoping to achieve. And that I think even goes with like tools as well.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's so many tools that are
Oh my
coming out
gosh.
right now, especially centered around AI. And do your research, people. That's
Yeah. I love that you get to wrap up number 8, because it's actually the most important.
yes, yeah. Customer centric empathy. Stop talking like a marketer. We're talking to humans. We're talking to consumers. Even we as marketers, we are consumers somewhere along the line, and nobody wants to be sold. And I think when you can tailor your messaging to actually have a conversation with consumers, you're going to see better results. And that's very strategic to tailor your messaging in that light. If you're constantly trying to sell or you're talking like a robot, you're missing the mark. You're not writing in plain language. You're not solving pain points if you're, writing like a robot. Um, we're not trying to fluff things up. We're trying to have a conversation with people and explain why or how you're better than the next.
Yeah. So if your marketing could be copy and pasted into your competitors,
Mm-hmm.
and still make sense, it's not strategic.
Nope.
Like, it's just like that. That's it. So, are you running campaigns or are you building momentum? Are your decisions based on curiosity and insight or pressure and deadlines?
Mm-hmm.
What's one change you can make this week to be more strategic in your marketing, and like
Yeah.
be more why?
Yeah. I I think with strategy, it really does tie back to quality over quantity. We live in a world where it's always more, more, more. What else can I get? What else can you do? But we're losing the quality in that. And so if you're being strategic, it might seem like there's less being done, but the quality is much better.
FOMO.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today. If you enjoyed today's show, you can certainly subscribe over on our website at elevatedmarketing.solutions, or you can follow me, Jennifer Denney, Denney, on LinkedIn. And that's it for today. Take care.